In the shadow of the shepherd, you're listening to The 100 Podcast, a show about CW sci-fi series The 100. I'm Dan.
I'm Olga, and today we're discussing Season 7, Episode 13, entitled The Blood Giant.
So, that happened. We just finished the episode.
Yep.
We haven't talked to each other about what we think of that.
At all. We just kind of make noises near each other.
I think the only way to start is from a tweet from the showrunner of The 100.
For 7 seasons, The 100 has been a show about the dark things that humanity will do to survive and the toll these deeds take on our heroes' souls. We knew Bellamy's death had to go to the heart of what the show is all about: survival. Who you're willing to protect and who you're willing to sacrifice. His loss is devastating, but his life and his endless love for his people will loom large and affect everything that comes after, to the very end of the series finale itself. We thank Bob for his beautiful work over these long years and wish him all the best in his future endeavors.
So, do you believe it?
No.
You don't believe it?
We've done a lot. What do you mean? Wait. What am I not believing? The well wishes or the fact that he's dead?
No, that's not what I was saying.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say I don't believe the well wishes.
Do you believe he's actually dead?
Yes.
Because obviously this very much seems like a statement of, yes, he's really dead. Except for the fact that, given the way that the actual show could end, who knows at this point what the fuck the whole test is, transcendence, turning the light. Will they all arrive and he's already there? He's part of the light, and are we going to an afterlife where he'll be there too?
Right. Is there going to be a soft timeline reboot in which Bellamy Blake could still exist?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that we talked about before the season even started, was I was like, well, maybe he'll die, and then the finale will be about trying to bring him back in some way. Because I don't know the answer to that, it's very hard to know how to feel about this.
I think the character and person of Bellamy Blake, as we knew him, is gone.
I really don't know that I buy it, but it seems just audience contempty enough to be real.
Yeah.
I mean, here's like, and maybe he's just like, this is just like a huge troll, and he's like, everybody's going to flip their shit, and then 2 episodes from now, they're going to get their end game, and everybody will be happy, and I'll say, I told you so.
You should have trusted me.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
blah. That's the thing, is I really don't know. So I think I can't, I feel a weight, but I'm not like emotional because I don't know whether I should be or not.
So this is the problem with like a sci-fi show like this, where, you know, the ridiculous stuff that Bellamy called out that they experienced, the City of Light, Allie, like in this universe, strange stuff happens, and they could fabricate a way for him to be alive or present.
Well, especially because I would argue at this point, it seems to me unlikely that anything Bellamy experienced was fabricated on the mountain.
Yeah.
So given that means the vision really occurred. And so given that involved dead people and light and all that stuff. So like, I don't know what to do with that. I don't, taking away what might be, right?
Right.
I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like what we got.
Right. Yes.
I don't think it was earned. I don't think anybody would have really truly guessed that Clark would kill Bellamy, and I don't think this is like a cool twist. Like there's often times where things happen where fans are upset, and I'm like, well, I feel like on a storytelling level it works, and like I understand why people would be upset, but like sometimes you kill your darlings.
Yeah.
This is not one of those.
This was an unnecessary action.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time understanding why you think that Clark would have done that. Like, I just...
Especially
She didn't actually stop the disciples from getting the book.
Yeah, she didn't even get the book. Um, I mean, it just seems like, why did she shoot where she shot? You know, like
She's a good shot.
yeah.
We know that.
There's just so many levels of, but the problem is a lot of the stuff is like, could they have written a storyline this season that got to that moment and made it earned? I think so, personally. They didn't.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't think they could have with the screen time that they had for Bob and Eliza, and also for, I would argue, for Clark and Maddie. Because suddenly, like, she does this for Maddie, who hasn't been even remotely her priority since episode 2 or whatever, 3. I forget what it was. Like,
yeah, this is a fully like background thing that we have to know and remember that like Maddie is Clark's kid, and therefore, but this isn't like an Abby to Clark scenario. This is like, you know, Abby was as around Clark or had Clark's motivations like very front and center for a large part of the show. Clark has been very, yes, she talks about getting back to Maddie, but it's not like,
well, and it's the thing
in the foreground.
If Clark had shot Bellamy in season 5, when her entire motivation the entire season was putting Maddie first, I'm not saying I would be happy with that, but at least it would like feel like I understand how we got from point A to point B.
Yeah, a progression.
And it just felt like Bellamy got too far too quick, and her response to him and not fighting to save him and to bring him back didn't last nearly long. And like everything pacing wise did not work for this, if this is how this is going. And
not to mention, not that I really want to take a lot of time to take away from the discussion of Bellamy and Clark, but then you have Indra being such a dumbass and not just killing Shade Hedda. The whole reason this happened the way it happened is because Shade Hedda was still alive. Indra spared him instead of just giving him like a merciful death as her kindness to him, as her repaying the favor. And because he was still alive, he told Bellamy about the book that Maddie drew in. And then that's the reason that he and Clark had this standoff. It's because of the stupidity of Shade Hedda that they even like maneuvered this scene.
Yeah, it's just, to me, arguably, especially if this is the end for Bellamy, this is the biggest scene of the entire season for the two main characters. And they had almost no screen time, just the two of them, the entire season before they got to this point.
This should be one of the biggest scenes of the show.
Yeah.
You center the show around Clark and Bellamy, and yes, you have these themes of survival, what will we do, at what cost, right? But they are two of the main focal points of that. And this is how you like pay off that relationship. I'm not even talking about the need for like a romance plot. Like that's its own thing. This is just what you have happen between them when they're not even really like connected to each other. I'm at a loss for words.
It just, they didn't do enough to make him, he needed to go farther for me to believe that she would do that. And like,
I feel like I'm sitting here pulling at straws of like what we saw in the previous episode of his grand betrayal 2 episodes ago of the team was like the big enough thing, I guess.
But he still worked every moment after that to try to save them all. And yeah, I understand that she doesn't believe that he will actually put Maddie first, which, I mean, yeah, there's precedent for that.
Yeah, there is.
But like, I just don't buy it. And the thing, I mean, the biggest problem with all this is that Clark just wasn't the main character for any, like, I don't even know what Clark's mind space is in this season. Never mind in this episode. This episode, that's my other problem too, is this episode is not really about Bellamy and Clark.
No.
The last 5 minutes, max 3 minutes probably, is about Bellamy and Clark.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, they threw in that one or two scenes of Bellamy talking to Kat again. And honestly, when we were watching it before we got to the end, in my mind, I was like, they should have cut that scene. That didn't seem like it was necessary in this episode because of what this episode was.
Yeah.
And it felt like a repeating thing of what we had before. And this was an episode about Raven. Like Raven and this is a Raven and Gabriel episode.
It was.
You know,
It was. It was a rave. Yeah. Yeah.
And to be clear, I
liked
liked the Raven and Gabriel episode.
We liked the Raven and Gabriel show this week.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate that they put this, huge moment between Bellamy and Clark, these tertiary characters this season, is as the kicker. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Again,
I'm gonna pull a Raven Reyes right here.
Yeah, I just
What else is there to say? I don't feel like talking about anything else this episode.
Yeah, other than just let's repeat that the letting Shade Hedda live was dumb as shit.
Which we called it being dumb as shit as soon as she let it happen.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was going to be quite this dumb.
Yeah.
Quite this stupid.
Yeah.
Like, how is this I don't know screenwriting terms and I'm too angry to recall them, but like, how is this the Chekhov's gun moment, I guess? The book being this important in this moment and leading to Bellamy's death being like...
It just all happened so fast. And I mean, I think that's part, like, by design to a certain degree, right? Is that she did it because it was so fast and she had no time and blah, blah, blah. Whether you believe she would do it, whether you believe Bellamy would do it, whatever, it just isn't... What does it accomplish within the story of the show? And like, I guess you could argue, I guess he's arguing in this thing, it shows how far people will go. And yeah, that loving an individual will make you do awful things. We already knew that. And is it that this is her darkest thing she's ever done, and that is what's going to propel her into her finale and making a new choice? And maybe she learns to do for all mankind because of what she did to Bellamy, and she does it for Bellamy.
Is this really the story that we want to tell? Was this cult leader right? Like, I mean,
my problem is, even if it ends up making sense within this season or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. The theme, it's just not a good ending for those two characters and what have been built up for them,
right,
all the way up to here. And you could, like, again, if you really wanted to, if in season 1 or 2 you knew, okay, this is going to end with Clark killing Bellamy and it's going to be a tragedy and a heartbreak, you could build to that. You could make me buy that. And maybe even if, maybe part of it's that Bob, wasn't around this season, and maybe if they had spent the whole season of him as a disciple doing multiple negative things, then maybe blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But the point is that it's not a season of civil war where they're opposed on opposite sides. It's like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And he really, he betrayed them, but he didn't he didn't do enough to earn this.
Right. I guess the whole thing is it was a big enough deal what he did. But again, I shouldn't have to feel like I am doing these logic, this should just be kind of plain text. Yeah. I'm all for reading into things for theories or whatever.
Well, I mean, but we know what the plain text is, that he was putting Maddie in danger and she had lost faith in him completely. And she begged him to not do it, and he said he was gonna, so she shot him. That's the plain text, but I just...
All right, so...
to me, what I don't buy...
So what am I saying that is, really fucked up here? I guess it's not the plain text, it's the just, under...
It's how we got there.
Yeah.
And it's also that I don't think it's fair or believable that she completely lost faith in him to that degree.
Yeah.
In those 2 episodes.
Yeah. We're being told that she did, but I don't feel like we were.
I mean, think about, the Clark that after Bellamy killed all the Grounders was, really worried about him and, crying and shit. And, felt the blame on herself that she wasn't there. Where is that?
I don't know, because they haven't been on the same wavelength, or not even the same. I haven't felt the care between them since the end of season 5.
Yeah. Well, no, you felt the care between them in season 6. What are you talking about?
I guess, but I just am so frustrated that I just feel like they've been separate. I mean, them being in different locations is not new for the 100.
No.
But at the very least, I've always felt like they are actually priorities in each other's lives.
Mm,
And we did have that, of course. Yes, we did in season 6.
yeah.
Fine, we did. But even so, it wasn't always enough. It didn't always feel like the right level of care. And then we
Mm.
come to the last season and it's nowhere
I
close.
I just think that, yeah, I mean, clearly, I mean, again, I think the scene last episode where they're talking in the cell,
Mhm.
I do think that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they both portrayed a lot of emotion and a lot of caring there, and I
Mhm.
think Clark is supposed to feel betrayed and angry, and I get that. It just really comes down to the fact that Clark has not been the main character, and that it just feels messy. Because
Yeah.
I understand on paper, on a blackboard at the beginning of the season, if they wrote down these things, I can be like, okay, I kind of get it, like vaguely. If I'm being generous, I can be like, hey,
You could draw
yeah,
these
like
lines.
ultimately, I'm like, yes, it's all about philosophy, and they end up the two leads end up diametrically opposed on a philosophical, important, pivotal issue that is the pivotal issue of the series.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All
But
mankind versus the people that you love.
yeah.
Like,
But it comes back to he is one of the people that she loves. So it
but she
like
doesn't trust him anymore. Can I just also
mm,
say one of the things that I don't think we truly acknowledged that it didn't seem worth it. Like shooting him in the way that she
mhm.
didn't seem like the way to achieve her goal. And yes, oh, she's panicked. Clark has been very functional and smart and like effective under pressure before.
Yeah.
So the fact that she was like, I'm gonna shoot you in the chest, not the book. I'm not gonna try and destroy the book. Like it would be one thing if he was like holding the book in front of his chest.
Mhm.
And she was like, I need to destroy that
Well,
book.
no, I think it goes beyond the book though. I think she realized that she needs to kill him
Yeah.
in addition to getting the book, because he
He
even without the
understands what
book, he
the
knows now, and if he knows, he's going to tell them.
right.
And
But the book also still like is yes, you're absolutely right. It's more than the book. It is Bellamy gets it, and that's what's dangerous.
Yeah. I just
But,
don't
like-
feel like I think what it ultimately comes down to is this season hasn't reinforced the Maddie Clark relationship nearly enough, because it is so pivotal to her making her biggest decision.
Mhm.
And I just like she cares. What this is saying is she cares so much more about Maddie than Bellamy that she is willing to kill him just because he's putting her in danger.
Not
Because
even that he's already like a danger to her.
He's not even aiming to kill her.
Right.
He's just putting her in a dangerous situation. So like, and I understand this isn't like the normal Bellamy. It's one that's actively trying to betray her. But like, yeah, like this would be if in season 5 when he was when instead of slapping him, she shot him in the head.
Yeah, so this is the thing where I'm watching this and I'm just like, this is like a dumber redux of season 5.
Yeah, which nobody
a
liked.
less motivated, dumber redux.
The one thing that
Why
I
is
think
this
most
what you
people
go back to?
I think the thing that most people can agree on is that they did not like the way Clark acted in season 5.
Guys, what the fuck did we watch? You're absolutely right. I feel like I am so confused as to how we got here. And you're making great points, Dan. You're absolutely
Thanks.
right. You are like calling out the flaws of this
Yeah.
mess. And I'm just sitting here being like, how the hell are you going to get your fans back, I guess?
I don't think you're gonna. Let's say that they somehow get Bellamy back, or they end up in a realm where Bellamy is, or whatever, and then there is a kiss at the end. Do they get the fans back at that point?
No. Because you had Clark kill him in a
Yeah,
very
and
stupid
that's what I'm
way
saying, yeah.
after a season of keeping them apart.
Mhm. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if now they do give us some version of Endgame, does that fix this? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's better than it not fixing it, but I mean, it's better than just keeping him dead.
This doesn't make
But-
this a good scene. This doesn't
Yeah.
make this like a good a good Clark and Bellamy episode. It's still the Gabriel and Raven show.
Mhm.
That
I just I just,
Guys, what do we do? What happens now?
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I'm trying my best to like be even keel because I don't want to like 3 weeks from now be like, okay, you flipped out for nothing, you know, wait and see how it finishes before you
Yeah.
like,
I mean, it's still, again, they
yeah,
could pull something off. I'm not saying they
yeah,
can't. I'm just saying I don't think this was a great way to end this episode.
yeah,
And I think that's still going to be fair 3 weeks from now.
yeah. I mean, I mean, if the idea is that they wanted going into the final three, that the ultimate motivation is what she did, I guess maybe that makes sense. Like, I, but it also, I don't know. I
Okay.
don't even know.
All
I
right.
think we're at
I
an
think
end
I think
point.
we're at yeah, I think we have flailed through this recap.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.
Send us your feedback both down there and at our Gmail, the100pod at gmail.com if you to
Yeah.
discuss on the longer podcast.
Yeah, so we'll be back with a full podcast Monday.
Yes.
In which we read a lot of emails, I'm sure.
I'm not sure how much of this podcast is going to be like a recap and versus all listener feedback, but we'll see. On this cheerful, befuddled that note.
May we meet again, I guess. Yeah, that would be hopeful. Hopefully we do
Fingers
meet again.
crossed we meet again.
Bye.
Bye.